What is going on, guys, and welcome to another video here on my channel. So as you may all be aware, or well, you should be all aware, because if you're living in like a bubble or something and you don't know what's going on in the world, Boris has put us into another lockdown like the one back in March. So we are back to being stuck at home, not being able to go anywhere, and that means back to living the home workout lifestyle. So today's video is going to be talking to you about how to stay fit during quarantine, how to train correctly in order to maintain or build muscle mass so you don't lose too much over this time. And that's going to include what workouts to do, how you don't need any equipment, and if you do have a little bit of equipment, what you can do with that equipment. We're going to get into it all in a lot more detail further on in the video, but first it's time for breakfast. Let's get it. Right, so we've got some smashed avocado on toast, a little bit of olive oil and some chili flakes and some scrambled egg. And we've also got some granola with some Greek yogurt and a few blueberries. So I'm gonna smash through this now. Just a quick heads up, guys, I have got my home workout guides coming. They will be dropping on my website within the next week or so. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Without further ado, I'm about to plow my way through this meal. Let's get it. Right, so breakfast all finished up. Now it's time to discuss the main talking point of the day, which is how you guys can stay in shape throughout lockdown. Right, so now moving on to the part that you all want to see. So I know you guys are probably wondering, how am I gonna build, maintain muscle mass whilst I'm working at home? Some of you may just be wondering how you're gonna stay fit from home. So I've got the answers for you today. So when training from home, I normally find that it's best to do full body workouts. The reason being is that you get a lot of variety in your workouts, where you're going to be aiming for a higher rep range because you may have little to no equipment. Using the full body workouts can really be a way to get your heart going and get blood flowing to those muscles so you can maintain or build muscle. Normally I would suggest 1 to 2 exercises per body part. So for example, your legs, your chest, your back. Don't go too far over 1 to 2 exercises, and you'll understand why I say that in a second. I'd also say stick to around 3 to 4 sets per exercise. Now the reason I say 1 to 2 exercises per body part and 3 to 4 sets per exercise is because you want to be working close to failure. The studies show that when you're working with little to no equipment, that training to failure is going to be the best way for you to increase muscle mass or maintain the muscle mass that you've already got, so that you don't lose too much throughout this type of period. So normally, sometimes people from home where they're training with no equipment, they may think to themselves, oh, I'll do 3 sets of 20 where I'd normally do 3 sets of 10 or whatever. But the truth of the matter is, just increasing your rep range, probably when you're not working with weight, isn't going to do a lot for you. So although it may take longer and it may be harder to achieve failure, you have to push yourself to that level in order to get the results that you want during this period. So if you're working 3 to 4 sets, I would normally say on the first 2 or 3, normally leave a few reps in the tank. Don't go to ultimate failure on those ones. So then for your last set, you can actually push to ultimate failure. So the general principle here is that high rep workouts are going to be the key to you building or maintaining muscle mass. Now there's an untold amount of exercises that I could show you, and I could run through loads of different workouts, but what I want to do is just show you a few things for each body part that you can do from home, make it nice and quick and simple, show you how you can get the most out of these exercises, how you can progress them if you've got little to no equipment, or if you have got equipment, what you can do. So I'm going to run through like the legs, the chest, the back, the arms, what you can do, what you would need. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So obviously, as you guys may know, if you watch my videos or follow me on Instagram, I'm lucky enough to have my home gym, but I wanted to work in the living room today to show you guys who probably don't have their own home gym what you can do in a small space. I bought some equipment because I know a lot of people may not have any equipment, but I do know also a lot of people that have the odd dumbbell resistance bands. So I want to show you guys what you can do with them, but I'm also going to show you what you can do with body weight and how you can make the body weight exercises even harder. So there's a few things I'm going to demonstrate that I can't demonstrate too well, but I'm going to explain it more. Obviously we know that I've had a knee operation, I'm still in recovery, but the first exercise, we're going to get them out of the way because my legs are the most hard area for me to demonstrate. We're going to do a squat. Okay, so when performing a squat, if you haven't got any weight at all, the best way for you to get the most out of it and to progress it, to really make it burn, when you're performing your squat, so legs a little bit wider than shoulder width apart, pushing your hips back, knees driving out, that is as far as my mobility allows me to go, so do not judge me on this. But when coming up, you don't want to get to full extension. If you keep yourself in that slightly engaged position there, you're not going to allow your legs to relax at all, even if it's for a split second. You're going to keep the blood flowing in that quad. So the more reps you do, you'll feel the burn a lot quicker and you'll reach failure a lot quicker, which is the goal based on what I said earlier. The second exercise for legs that you want to be doing is a Bulgarian split squat. Now, you can literally use a sofa, a chair, whatever you want. But for this one, all you've got to do is put your foot on the back and you're just going to sink your back knee all the way to the floor and then drive up. Again, the same principle as the squat. If you don't come up all the way to full extension, you leave that slight bend in your knee, you're going to keep all the blood in that quadricep, and again, you'll reach failure a lot quicker. Obviously, for all these exercises, you can incorporate a dumbbell. So for the split squat, if you just wanted to add a dumbbell, you can. Now, for all them girls that love working their glutes, I know you're probably wondering, how am I going to maintain that peach over this time? One great exercise is a hip thrust. All you've got to do, put your back on the sofa with your feet flat on the floor, and from here, just thrust your hips up. Again, if you want to progress this, you can either put a weight on your lap and thrust up. Again, even adding a small weight can make a hell of a difference when trying to reach failure. You'll get there a lot quicker. Or you can put a band around your knees and therefore drive your knees out and get a little bit more tension on those glutes, again helping you achieve failure a lot more quickly. When it comes to the upper body, when you haven't got a lot of weights, it can be difficult to think what to do. Now, for chest, normally the best exercise is the most traditional one, which is press up. There are a lot of ways you can progress your press ups by introducing a band, or even if you're lucky enough to have someone living with you that can place a weight on your back to make the press ups even harder. Now, if you are lucky enough to have some dumbbells, but you haven't got a bench, for example, you can do things like floor press. So just lying flat on the floor with your knees bent, like for a hip thrust. So with your knees bent, feet flat on the floor, drive up and squeeze your chest. Elbows bent at a 90-degree angle. Gently touch the elbows on the floor and drive the dumbbells up. When it comes to the back, this is probably one of the hardest things to train without any equipment. The first and the most key exercise that I would always advise, if possible, is a pull-up. So if you've got a bar in your house or somewhere that you can do a pull-up, then perfect, because this is going to be the best exercise to target your back. I'd normally do this on a normal back day anyway. Even if there's an area in your house, like I'm going to show you now, where you can manipulate a pull-up, then try and do that. So it's not like a typical pull-up bar, but it can do the job when you're working from home. Hopefully it would hold my weight and it won't break. If you are trying to train back a little bit more, I would suggest this is probably one of the only ones where you kind of need something, so something like a band. And then all you can do is things like banded rows. You will definitely feel that engage in your back, and again, push to failure, make sure you get the contraction, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and I guarantee even after a few reps you can feel it engage straight away. So when it comes to the shoulders, this is again kind of a difficult one to work without any equipment. You'll get a lot of shoulder work when you do your press ups, but there are a type of press up that you can do in order to engage your shoulders a little bit more. So all you're going to do is put your feet up on a sofa or on a chair or something where you can go into a decline position, and then you want to sort of emulate like an overhead press. Another great shoulder exercise that you can do, again with minimal equipment, is a lateral raise. So raising the dumbbells up to your side, slowly controlling them down. If you've got only light weights or you've got no weights at all, focusing on the isometric contraction and just really squeezing your shoulders and slowly controlling them down, making sure you really squeeze. You can even stand in a doorway to get the isometric contraction and push out on the door, and then squeeze until you get the contraction in your delts, and then go into some more isometric holds as a lateral raise. When it comes to biceps and triceps, this is again one that you probably need either some dumbbells or some bands. I would just typically advise just a normal bicep curl for your arms to get the pump. You can vary this between a standard bicep curl or some hammer curls. And then for the triceps, anything like an overhead extension or a skull crusher, something where you're just extending and pushing the tricep through a large range of motion to get full extension, is going to help you build muscle and maintain the muscle mass that you already have. Again, making sure you go to failure on every set. So I hope you guys picked up a lot of tips from this little session that I've put on here. Remember, train to failure as much as you can. That is going to be the way that you can maintain and build muscle mass during this time when you haven't got access to a lot of equipment. Focus on full body workouts, because the variety and the pump you'll get from that will be far better than just doing isolated exercises when you haven't got a lot of equipment and just doing loads of reps of the same thing. Let's get it. Right, so we come out for our daily steps here, guys. One thing I would recommend now that we are in quarantine is that, seeing as we're locked up inside, you are allowed out once a day for exercise. So if you can get out, do some walking. It's good for your mental health. You don't want to be sitting inside feeling sorry for yourself. Get out, get your steps in. Great cardio, help keep the body fat down, and also you'll have a lovely time. So look at the lovely area, and if you can, I can't at the moment, but because of my knee, but if you can, try and get some running done. That's another form of cardio that you guys can do. You can even do some interval sprints if you're feeling really lucky, but I can't do that, otherwise I would show you. But anyway, we're gonna keep walking. Let's get it. Little tea, essential tea stop. You can't not do that when you go for a walk. You've got to warm ourselves up.
Yeah.
Right, let's crack on with this walk, okay, shall we? I'm Bear Grylls. Today in the Antarctica, survival of the fittest. Calm down, we're filming a video here. Right, so as we near the end of the walk, I think it'd be important to say that the kind of amount of steps you should be getting, I would say aim for about 8,000 to 10,000. You'd be shocked how quickly you actually get through steps as you're walking. Probably take you like an hour, maybe a little bit more, depending on your walking pace. So yeah, it won't take you that long, but get it in. Now, gonna go inside, have our next meal. So I hope you guys have learned how to keep yourself fit during quarantine.